You think heartbreak is bad? Try finding out your wife is pregnant and you haven't touched her in months.
I always thought the worst way to lose a marriage was slowly, like a slow leak. Arguments stacking up like bricks, a little more distance every day until you're just strangers sharing a mortgage. But I was wrong. The worst way isn't a slow crumble, it's a detonation. Mine blew apart the moment my wife, Lena, got pregnant with my brother's child. It all started in the most humiliating place you can imagine, her birthday dinner. We were at this fancy steakhouse, the kind with white tablecloths and wine that cost more than my weekly paycheck. Her friends were there, these women who looked at me like I was a piece of gum stuck to their expensive shoes. They made little jokes about my job at the garage, my clothes, my life. They weren't even subtle, and Lena, she barely defended me. She even laughed a little, that nervous, embarrassed laugh you give when you wish the person next to you would just disappear. But the real breaking point, the moment everything snapped into focus, was when the check came. $843. Her friend Mara slid it right in front of me, a deliberate, calculated move. The whole table went silent, just watching. Lena didn't say a word. She didn't argue, didn't tell them to stop. She just waited, her eyes on me, waiting to see what I'd do. So I did something. I stood up, took out my wallet, and placed $37 on the table for my own meal. Then I turned around and walked out. I didn't look back. In the parking lot, under the weak glow of a street lamp, I saw him. My brother Alex, he was leaning against a sleek black BMW, a car I knew he couldn't afford. He had a smile on his face, but it wasn't friendly. It was smug, like he'd just won something. He wasn't supposed to be there. He told me he was away for a work trip that night. But there he was, stepping out of the shadows like he'd been waiting for the show to end. Our eyes locked across the pavement, and in that split second, his smile faltered. It softened into something else, something I recognized instantly. Guilt. That was the moment I knew my marriage wasn't just dying. It had been dead for a very long time, and I was the last one to the funeral. I didn't go home that night. I couldn't. I drove to my best friend Rick's place, a rundown little cottage with squeaky floors and two dogs that barked at everything that moved. Rick's not a man of many words, but he's a hell of a listener. I spilled the whole story, every cringeworthy detail of the dinner, the looks, the silence, and the sight of my brother in that parking lot. When I was done, Rick just sat there for a minute, then he looked me dead in the eye, and muttered the 5 words that changed everything. "She's hiding something big, Ganny." He was right. The next morning, a switch flipped inside me. I called in sick to work and I started paying attention. Really paying attention for the first time in years. Once I was looking for them, the lies were everywhere. The new clothes she said were on sale. The late nights at the office. A new perfume I'd never smelled on her before. The discreet phone calls she'd take in the other room, her voice dropping to a whisper. The sudden promotions she never actually told me about until I asked. None of it added up. Rick helped me piece it all together. We became private investigators in our own lives. We followed her, we took photos. We documented every lie, every discrepancy. And every time we thought we'd finally hit rock bottom, the truth just dug a deeper hole. The real blow, the one that knocked the wind out of my lungs, came when I was searching her desk. Tucked away in a folder, hidden under a pile of old bills, was her medical paperwork. A prenatal appointment notice, ultrasound schedules, a due date. She was 6 weeks pregnant. There was only one problem. 6 weeks earlier, Lena and I hadn't been together. We hadn't been intimate at all. We were in one of our cold spells, sleeping in separate rooms. That night, my mind was racing. Who was it? The first person who came to mind was her boss, Graham. He was wealthy, powerful, and she always talked about him. Rick and I drove to his apartment, convinced we were about to catch them. We parked across the street, watching the lights in his window. We could hear her laugh, a sound that now felt like a stranger's. The door cracked open, silhouetted by the light from inside. And the man she was with, it wasn't Graham. It was Alex, my little brother. My best friend growing up, the best man at our wedding, the guy I shared a bedroom with, defended from bullies, taught how to ride a bike. And now, the father of my wife's child. I stood there on that cold sidewalk, shaking. I could hear them talking about the future. Their future. They were planning how to destroy me in court, how to make it all look like my fault. I heard them laugh about how I'd never see the truth coming, how I was too simple to figure it all out. Every instinct screamed at me to kick that door in, to confront them right there. But Rick grabbed my arm. He understood strategy. Revenge wasn't about a moment of shouting, it was about timing. It was about control, and my time was coming. It came a few weeks later at the annual charity gala for Lena's company. It was the perfect stage. The room was filled with cameras, wealthy donors, judges, all of her colleagues, and best of all, my entire family. My mom, my dad, and of course Alex. I waited for the right moment when they were making announcements. I walked onto the stage holding an envelope, pretending I was there to make a donation. "I'd like to donate $2,000, I said into the microphone. The crowd applauded politely. Lena and Alex were in the front row, looking smug. They thought I was playing their game. Then I turned to the technician. "And I've also prepared a short presentation." I connected my phone to the massive projector behind me. The first slide lit up the room. A crystal clear photo of Lena and Alex entering a hotel together, holding hands. A collective gasp rippled through the audience. Second slide, the ultrasound results. With one key detail circled in red, Father Alex Brooks. Third slide, screenshots of their text messages, planning how to frame me for adultery, how to take everything I had. And for the grand finale, the fourth slide was just an audio file. I pressed play. The sound of their voices filled the silent ballroom, the recording from outside the apartment. Their laughter, their insults. Them calling me simple. The room exploded. People were shouting. Everyone had their phones out, recording. I saw my mother burst into tears. My father stood up, his face filled with a rage I'd never seen before. Alex's face went completely white. He looked like a ghost. And Lena, she just collapsed in her chair, her face buried in her hands. I stood on that stage looking out at the chaos I had created. I didn't feel rage anymore. I didn't even feel sad. I just felt quiet. It was over. They thought I was too simple to figure it out. But they forgot one thing. Sometimes the simplest plans are the most effective. I dropped the microphone on the stage, turned around, and walked away without looking back. Thanks for watching. If you've ever been through something like this, know that you're not alone. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories. See you next time.